Here we are again with Sensei's journey with your real anime sensei, and today we are going to talk about breaking your goals into 3 very easily identifiable things for you to center your training around. If you'll remember from the previous 3 vlogs, I told you that I broke my fitness goals into 3 very specific things. One not so specific, more of a concept. So the first thing was the heaviest pull-up, second thing was never get tired, and the third thing was Ichigeki Hisatsu, or the ability to end a fight in a single blow. And so that sort of like zeroed in on the way that I wanted to train about things. So I'm gonna, it helps me focus and it makes me feel like I'm not so scattered. And your goals could be any number of things. They could be aesthetic, they could be performance, they could be health related. And it's just sort of one of those things that's off in the distance to try to get you to say, oh man, I've always wanted to do this. Instead of saying, I want to get fit, you could say, I want to run a mud run or an obstacle course. And so that would gear your training towards very specific things. It's going to give you sort of an all-around fitness because you're working on running and you're working on the strength necessary to do the obstacles, and so it's really going to give you that focus. Having defined goals is extremely important. I know that when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with with my goals, I really had to break it down into what am I good at, what do I enjoy, and also what just seemed fun as an idea. And that's really kind of where I came up with the 3 things that I have right now. I've got, what am I good at? I'm good at pull-ups. And, typically when you're good at something, you tend to enjoy it because you're good at it. It's like, what do I enjoy? I enjoy not being tired. I also enjoy hitting things. But I mean, it just seems fun to be able to do all of the things that are on my list. And so the things on your list don't have to be all 3 of those things, but one of those things should be good. So some people find that they like a sport, and so they gear their training towards a certain sport. And then you could break that down even further, like, I want to be like extremely fast on the basketball court, or I want to be the best, have the best 3-pointer in my league, or whatever it is. So that gives you very specific things to work on, and it builds you as a person and as an athlete in whatever it is that you're doing. I mean, if you look at it like in terms of anime, because this is real anime training. For instance, as an example, in Hajime no Ippo, when Ippo is learning certain skills, you can start to see a style develop based on what he's naturally good at and based on what he enjoys doing, and also kind of what he's not good at. So, I mean, he ends up developing the peekaboo style with the coach, and Coach Kamigawa has him using good head movement and dashing in really hard and being an in-fighter because he doesn't have the the wherewithal to be an out-fighter. He's a get in there, get stuff done, wail on people, and take punishment, and hard work kind of thing. He's good at hard work, and so that makes him a good in-fighter. And so they develop that because that's what he's good at and what he enjoys, and you can sort of see that development in the skills that he learns, and every time he learns a new skill, he changes a little bit. You can see that in Kenichi. Every time he learns a new technique, it sort of adds to who he is as a person and also who he is as a fighter. And you can see the Kenichi at the end of History's Strongest Disciple. Kenichi is not the same Kenichi that we get at the very beginning. And it's a gradual process of adding and adding the good things and shaving away the bad things. But that's sort of another topic. I'm sort of rambling today. So this one's going to be kind of short. I want you guys to think about, if this kind of goal setting intrigues you, I want you to think about what you enjoy doing, what you're already good at, and what you think might be fun, even if it's sort of crazy. And then that can be the 3 things that allow you to be able to build your training, because you'd be like, oh, I like running. Well, I mean, yeah, that's one thing, and there's going to be, some other stuff that goes into that. Running and to keep you healthy, like you want to do some strength training and you want to do some mobility work, but running is sort of, simple. And there's nothing wrong with simple, but having additional goals, like say, if you are long distance runners, like, I want to run marathons. Okay, great. That gears the majority of your training, and that can be your number one. Well, it's like, well, what else do you like? Well, I might like to, rock climb. Okay, cool. Well, rock climbing, it can be your number 2. So if you say, I want to climb, this particular rock face, or I want to rock climb in a certain amount of time. That can be something that allows you to be able to build your fitness in other areas, and also can add to your abilities as a runner, and you may not even know what it'll do. And then you can have something, as a third thing, you can just be like, I want to be able to do a split. And a split's not necessarily useful for a runner, and it could potentially be useful for a rock climber, because reaching something with your foot if you're trying to get a hold. But that's just something else for you to work on, and it's something to give you goals when because you can't always run. If you're running, it's like you're not going to run all the time. But if you want to train, there's something else you can work on. So it gives you things to focus your training on. Can kind of fill out your training menu if you have additional time that you'd like to work on things, and it just gives you other stuff to have fun with. Because if you're not having fun with your training, you're not very likely to do it. If something's a chore, you're probably going to stop doing it at some point, unless you have like ridiculous willpower. And at that point, it's good to have good willpower, but having good willpower and like using it for no reason seems to be kind of pointless. In your spare time, do stuff that you like. Unless you're a professional athlete for the most part, or unless you're like, trying to uphold your family honor, there's not a whole lot of need for you to draw on that massive amount of willpower to try to put it into everything that you do all the time. Don't get me wrong. It's good to be committed, and it's good to have discipline. But you don't want to feel like you're going to a job every time you step into a training session. You want to feel like you're doing something that you enjoy. All right, so this one was kind of like loosey-goosey here, just kind of talking about some concepts. So like I said, I want you guys to try to find something that you enjoy, something that you're good at, and something that might seem fun. And those 3 things can kind of, gear you towards whatever your fitness is going to look like. Because honestly, putting those 3 things together is, you're going to look a lot different than somebody else. Even if you got 2 runners, if you had, 2 other goals that they've got included in there, those runners are going to look completely different because they've got different goals. And so you end up looking like and performing like you train. And that's exciting because, heaviest pull up, never get tired, kill a man in a single punch. That's a weird combination of stuff. Whatever. That's what I want to do. So find out what you want to do. Go do it. Have fun. Till next time, good luck. Train hard.